If you saw the last video, you know how close I was to banking my first tournament win in quite some time. But luckily for me, I still have 2 more events to play here at PGT's kickoff events. I'm already warmed up after firing 4 bullets across the first 2 events this week, so now there's no excuse for me to walk away with that title. The only thing standing in the way is this field full of tournament crushers, and I just know they're not going to make it easy for me. So stick around and watch me grind, and just like in the previous video, maybe we'll have a chance at another victory. GG. Good morning, we're here day 3 of this PokerGo adventure. We had cashed the first event. Second yesterday was not amazing. We're playing against the best in North America. We're getting into a lot of tough spots, and it's a super fun challenge to be part of. So we played with like Foxen a bunch of times. You've got Eric Seidel, you got Steven Song, Justin Saliba, Joey Weissman. You can go on and on, Clement Dang, all and on about all the best players here. But we're here battling, trying to compete, and we've got 2 more days left. So let's try to run it up. Let's get in there. This room is huge. This might be the biggest prize pool yet. And the 5K buy-ins always get more and more people, so another fun little plug. Starting off this event, we've got Pocket Queens in level 3 of this tournament. The under the gun player raises to 4,000. The cutoff, button, both call, and now I'm in the big blind next to act. I decided to 3-bet this one to 19,000, sizing things up, and surprisingly the under the gun player folds, but we've got action as the cutoff and button both call. So 3 ways to a flop, which comes ace, jack, 9, 2 hearts. Here, the ace out there is not a very friendly card to see, and I decided to actually just throw 13,000 into the middle, a small bet, trying to test the waters and see how these opponents respond, but both of them make the call, so I don't really love this situation, and we're going to a turn which comes a queen. We bink the magical set. There's no way I thought my hand was good on the flop with this action, but now we've got a set and I'm loving life. I decided to continue again for 22,000, expecting to get called as someone certainly has an ace here, but for this small amount, both of the opponents fold somehow, so I don't know what happens, but we get very lucky on this turn and get to win the pot. Then moving on with ace queen offsuit in the big blind, action folds to the small blind who decides to limp. I decided to raise things up to 8,000 here, of course, with a very good hand, and we get to see a flop in position as my opponent calls. The flop comes ace 5 3 2 spades, as dreamy of a flop as it gets. My opponent checks, and I'll throw 6,000 into the middle, and I get action with a call. The turn now comes a jack, so at this point, I'm just going to be all in by the river here. I want to play for stacks with a strong hand like mine, and I decide to size up to 40,000 as an overbet now. And now back to the opponent here, and after some time, he does come along for a call, so I'm really loving this situation. I think I have the best hand for sure, and we're off to a river, planning to be all in. It comes another jack. At this point, I can't be afraid of him having trips. If he's got a jack with a spade draw or something, then he deserves all the money. But he checks once more, and I basically go all in for 115,000. I get snap called by ace 9 of diamonds, and here we go. We get a fat double up in the early goings of this tournament. We're running hot, we're loving life, getting maximum with our pair of aces and the best kicker. So we got some things cooking here early on in this tournament. Progressing to level 4 with ace 10 offsuit in the big blind, the button raises to 5,000. The small blind 3-bets to 20,000, and I'm a little bit suspicious of this opponent. He certainly can have worse hands, and I decided to 4-bet to 50,000 chips. Really using ace 10 offsuit as a bluff here. I just want to take it down pre-flop, but when the button folds, the small blind goes all in. Oh my, I can't call this all in bet. Nice hand to my opponent. I guess he has it, and when I fold, he shows me the ace 8 offsuit. I'm on tilt. Nice hand to Danny Sepiel. What a beast to own me here in this hand. I put in the 4-bet bluff, and it's very rare to see a 5-bet bluff, but he found one and wins the pot. All right, here on first break, of event number 3. Up and down. I lost every single hand in the beginning, but then we doubled up huge with the ace-queen, and then Danny got me again with his ace-8 5-bet jam for infinite. That was pretty savage of him, and we're sitting pretty chill. We have like 2x starting stack, which is lovely. The turnout today is massive, and if you're wondering why the room is completely empty, is because I have social anxiety, and I don't like recording things like this in front of everyone else when the room's full. Let's try to keep the momentum moving. Still early in this tournament with pocket deuces in the cutoff. There's an under the gun raise to 6,500. Hijack calls, I call, small blind and a big blind also calls. So multi-way, and the flop is 10-6 deuce. And the only time you can run this hot is on gold on the virtual felt. So join me in my personal weekly Rampage tournament where I give away 5,000 to the winner if you use my name Rampage at account creation. Use the link down in the description below. But we've got bottom set, and the under the gun opponent c-bets 18,000. The hijack makes the call here, and we've got a lot of action, and it feels like bottom set needs some protection, and I don't really want to go multi-way. I decided to go for a very small raise to 50,000. We get a few folders, but the under the gun player is a non-believer, makes the call, and we've been able to dwindle down the opponents on this hand to heads up. Off to a turn, which is the 8 of spades. Not what I'd love to see. The spade draw gets there, and even worse, my opponent goes all in for like 70 to 80,000 chips. I've got bottom set. I'm not folding. I just call and hope I'm not up against a flush. My opponent's got pocket sevens with the 7 of spades, so he's got a lot of equity. He's got a lot of outs, and the river, 4 of clubs, is clean for us to win this pot. We stack more piles of chips, and just like that, with almost 400,000 chips, moving on to the 4K big blind mark, we've got ace 10 of diamonds in the big blind. The under the gun opponent raises to a large size of 11,000. I'm very suspicious of this opponent, but I make the call as my hand's too good to fold for sure. Off to a flop of queen 7-3 rainbow. Action goes check pretty quickly here, which is a little bit suspicious, but turn comes the 5 of clubs, bringing in a backdoor flush draw. I check once more with my ace high, and my opponent fires now 15,000 into the middle. At this point, I'm very suspicious of what he could have. He could have like a really great hand or just a pretty bad one. And with ace 10, I think I have a pretty bad combination to continue with, but I am going to try to find some creative bluffs on the river if the board favors me. Anyways, I make the call. We're into adventurous territories here. The river comes a 4. So there's a 4-liner on the board. Any 6 makes a straight. And this is one of those moments and cards that I really wanted to bluff on. So I decided to put my opponent all in. I lead jam for 65,000. He snap calls. How? He's got ace, queen, top pair, top kicker. And this is a disaster, giving away some of the chips. I guess the check on the flop got me very confused. I didn't think my opponent would actually snap off one pair when there's a 4-liner on the board, but bluffing it off, drawing dead is never fun. Then, as blinds have increased yet again, I've got 10-8 of diamonds under the gun. I raise it up to 10,000. I get the cutoff, small blind, and big blind to call, so multi-way, the flop is pretty dicey on king 6-7 to hearts. We've got a very disguised gut shot straight draw, and when action checks to me, I bet 30,000 into the middle. I'm trying to thin out the field. I think I have the best king X advantage, and only the big blind makes the call. The turn now comes a 4, which is even cooler as I get a double gutter opportunity. When my opponent checks once more, I think this card will actually favor him more than I, so I decided to check it back and see a free river card, which comes another king. At this point, my opponent checks once more, and with 165,000 back in his stack, I decided to go all in. I'm trying to fold out pairs. I don't think he's ever going to have a king, but he snaps it off, and my read is horrible. Every time I think someone doesn't have something, they find a way to have it, but nice hand to my opponent, and we are definitely downtrending now on this bullet when we were running so hot in the early goings. But the next shuffle, I pick up queen 5 of hearts in the big blind. The button player raises to 10,000. Of course, I'm going to call the suited queen. And the flop is magical on 8-6-4 2 hearts. We've got a combo draw, but no money gets put into the middle as action goes check, check. The turn now comes a queen, so we've hit top pair and all the combo draws. I check once more, and now my opponent bets 25,000 into the field. I actually think that the best way to play this hand is to proceed with a call. Top pair is certainly a very comfortable hand to have, and with all my equity, I don't really feel like gambling that much against his opponent, so I stick in for a call and we evaluate the river, which comes the 3 of clubs. Not a whole lot going on here for me. I brick all of my draws, but still with top pair, I check. Now my opponent goes all in for 67,500 chips. I mean, I've got top pair, and I've had a lot of missed draws. It's going to be ambitious to find some bluffs from my opponent, but I just don't really believe him. At the end of the day, if I was already committed to be all in on the turn, I might as well be committed here on the river, even though I bricked. I make the call, and he shows pocket kings. Oh no, this is a disaster. My stack is completely crippled now after this hand. We once had 400,000, and after losing the few hands in a row, I'm down to only 10,000 chips in 3 straight hands. I'm full of tilt, but I've got ace deuce of spades in the small blind next. I jam a dusty stack of 15,000. It's not that many big blinds. It's only 3 to be exact, so I'm committed. We actually take this pot multi-way, and there's a side pot that the other 2 opponents are playing in, but at the end of the day, I brick everything, and I end up losing to pocket 6s, so I'm eliminated from this tournament, and we're off to max late reg.
I'm on tilt. Oh, what a painful 3 hands that was. I can never help myself bluffing it off. I think I bust myself bluffing it off more than most people. Okay, let's go outside.
I literally took a picture of my stack and posted it on Instagram, and I was like sitting with 400,000 chips, and I'm just like, oh, things are going really well today so far. It's event number 3. Like, I don't really like to post, I don't like to spam Instagram post, but hey, I want to report good news. And then the moment I hit post on my Instagram story, it becomes a complete disaster and chaos where I just lose to ace queen, snap called with 4-liner on the board, lose to the straight, lose to kings, bust out. I'm dead. Here we are. Need a max late reg and rebuy. I'm going to calm down in an hour. I'll see you then. Oh my God.
In the max late reg bullet, we're starting off hot here with pocket kings in the big blind. The small blind limps, and I raise things up to 18,000, and my opponent jams. That's the beautiful sign I wanted to see. I make the call, of course, and we're up against ace jack of clubs. So off to the races we go. I don't want to have my tournament life end just like this, playing one hand, and we hold. We win, find a very nice, much needed double up, and we get more premiums with pocket queens next in the small blind. The low jack raises to 13,000. I decide to make it 53,000 here, and my opponent comes along for a call. Off to a flop of ace 9-4 rainbow. This, once again, is not a fun spot, but I still feel like I definitely need to bet here on a board like this. I throw 27,000 in the middle, hoping he doesn't have an ace, hoping he just folds and I take the pot down right now, but he does come along for a call. The turn now comes the 5 of hearts, bringing in a backdoor flush draw. I really didn't like him calling on the flop, so I proceed with a check. Following my check, my opponent throws 72,000 into the middle, and this is just a really, really annoying tough spot. Feels like I am getting bluffed sometimes, but I just don't have a great hand to call off. I end up going back and forth, and I might have leveled myself into thinking maybe he could have a bluff, maybe he can have a flush draw. I make the call, hoping to see a give up on the river, which is now the king of spades. If the ace wasn't already bad enough, let's throw the other overcard on the board, making sure queens is for sure the worst hand. I check it to my opponent. He goes all in, and I am all out. I fold the queens with about 140,000 chips back, and we move on to the next level where the blinds have increased to 8K, and I've got ace jack of clubs in the cutoff. The hijack raises to 16,000. I've got under 20 big blinds. I'm all in with a hand like this. What's sad is the button next act immediately wakes up and puts in the call. We need help, dealer. We're up against ace queen from my tournament life. I am definitely not ahead here, and we end up losing, sending me right back into the shadow realm, and we're gonna have to wait till tomorrow to compete in the last event of this series.
Maybe I should have folded a turn, but I still die this way anyways. There's no way I ever get away. So, goodbye to 2 bullets. Goodbye to $10,000. I have 2 more bullets tomorrow to break even on the series, so let's hope that I can only be in for 2. Maybe I can just like force it and be in for 2 and then lock up a break-even series, but good night. for day 3. Hello, we're here, day 4. It's the last day. I'm a little tired and drained, but I'm only maxing myself to 2 bullets so I can break even on the series, worst case scenario, but finding a cash today would just be absolutely amazing.
Let's try to run hot. Yesterday was not the best day ever, but we're showing up and trying to play our best regardless. In level 3, we got action with pocket kings in the small blind and the 2K big blind mark. There's a button raised to 4,500. I decided to 3-bet to 18,000 here, and my opponent on the button makes the call. We've got action on the flop of 10-9-7, 2 spades. This is a very, very connected board, and I decided to start off with a sneaky little check. Now, this time my opponent bets 14,000, and with about 100,000 chips in my stack, I really feel like my hand could use a lot of protection and protect my equity from bad runouts. There's not that many turn cards that I'm really dying to see unless it's like a 3 or a deuce. So I end up going all in and jamming pocket kings, and my opponent folds, saying he had a gut shot straight draw, so hey, I'll take down the pot with kings here in the early goings. Then the blinds have increased yet again, and we've got 6s on the button. The low jack raises to 5,500. I, of course, will make the call with a pair of mine, very playable, and the small blind calls as well. 3 ways the flop comes king, deuce, 3, 2 diamonds, and action checks the low jack opponent who bets 10,000 into the middle. I think with a pair like this, I can't get away, so I make the call and see a turn card in position, which comes the 7 of clubs. Now, this time my opponent slows down for a check, and with 6s here, I actually think I could get some value against my opponent. More so, I just want him to fold hands like queen jack or queen 10 or something like that with 2 overcards, but I do throw 18,000 into the middle and onto my opponent. When he makes the call, I'm not feeling the most comfortable about this situation, but we're going to see what happens on the river, which comes a jack. Another card over my pair. There's nothing I can do with 6s. Action goes check, check real quick, and he shows 9-8 of diamonds for a missed flush draw. Sitting with 9 high, pocket 6s will win. That feels good to get an extra value bet on the turn.
End of the first 2 hours of poker. Not much has happened, you know, been steadily climbing a little bit, winning some small pots here and there. So let's just keep this up. If we just kept chipping up every single break, then we're at the final table.
Then into level 6 of this tournament, I've got ace-queen offsuit in the big blind. The cutoff as a short stack raises to 8,000, and the small blind decides to 3-bet to 25,000. We're playing 40 big blinds effective here, and I actually think the small blind has a really strong hand here. I don't know what's telling me this, but at the end of the day, I think with ace-queen offsuit, it's too much hand to fold, so I just jam it all in there. Cutoff makes a quick fold, but the small blind snap calls with pocket queens. Not the situation I wanted to see, and I definitely had at least some sort of a strong read thinking my opponent was strong, but we get lucky with an ace. We get there, we hold. My opponent's only got 1 out, and it does not improve to see the queen, and I find another really big double up. Playing about 40 big blinds, have ballooned up to over 80 big blinds. We're living clean winning this hand.
That would have been a good sacrifice to the prophecy if it came true. You already won the Sadie to the 100. Why win 2? Don't be so greedy.
Need a rebuy. Yeah.
Then we pick up ace-queen yet again, one of my favorite hands to play. I'm in the cutoff, and there's a hijack raised to 8,000 off of 20 big blinds. This is the same opponent who I just doubled up through. I decided to 3-bet this one to 20,000, and my opponent goes all in with pocket 6s. We're never folding ace-queen suited here, and we've got a classic flip where we end up winning and stack more chips. We're running hot with ace-queen. This hand can't fail me today, and it looks like we've got a chance to make another special run.
At the very least, I have locked up a profitable series. So that's pretty cool. We made it on 1 bullet. I have over 400,000. And I get to do the color up, which is cool, which means that I have the biggest conk on the table because I have all the chips. You wouldn't guess it by my ethnicity. Anyways.
We're progressing to level 9 now of this tournament, and I've got piles of chips in front of me. We got ace-queen again, our favorite hand. The hijack raises to 12,000. I decided to 3-bet him to 40,000, and my opponent makes the call. So we've got a pretty dicey pot brewing, and it comes queen 9-6 all diamonds. Here, with top pair on a monotone board, I throw out a small bet of 30,000. expecting to have the best hand a lot of the time, but that is until my opponent decides to check raise to 65,000. This is a min check raise. What is going on here? I have no idea what my opponent could have, but I do have top pair and the best kicker. I'm never going away for a small price like this. I make the call. The turn now comes a 5, and now my opponent decides to slow down and check, which makes no sense to me. I'm very confused as to what's going on, but I still think my hand could be best now as played. I think he's playing his hand a little trickily. I throw 75,000 into the middle. We're starting to build a pot here, and especially so when my opponent makes the call. This could be one of the biggest pots of the night, going to a river, which comes a 7. A 4-liner as an 8 gets there for a straight. But what's even crazier is my opponent goes all in himself. I can't believe this. Guys, I don't know what's going on. All-in amount is for 155,000, and I really don't know what's happening. If you guys can let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this hand. This is probably one of the most creative and weirdly played hands by my opponent to min check raise the flop, check call the turn, and now lead jam himself on the river. What could he have? I don't know, but ace queen seems extremely pained in this situation, especially with how big the pot is. I guess I'm getting a pretty good price to call, but in times like this, I don't know. I think I just believe him somehow. No, not sure how he could have a good hand, but I guess my opponent earned the pot by going all in first for me. I end up folding ace queen, and my opponent does not show himself, so we don't get much information, but we end up losing a really big pot with so much agony on my face trying to make this decision. Progressing to level 11 now, we've got 7-4 of hearts in the big blind. Under the gun raises to 20,000. The cutoff makes the call, and I've got a fun hand to see flops with, and it comes queen 9 6-2 hearts. We got the heart draw. Action checks to the under the gun player who bets 60,000. That is huge. I've got a flush draw. I've got some backdoor stuff going on, but facing nearly a pot-sized bet is a little sketchy. I do come along for a call, and the turn, bink, 10 of hearts. Here we go with the flush. I actually thought about leading here, but I decided to check. Maybe my opponent could be blasting away again, but this time he checks it back, which makes me feel really good about having the best hand. I just don't think this opponent will be checking and trapping some better flushes. So off to a river, we just don't want to see a board pair. It comes a deuce, a complete brick. How beautiful is that? And according to my calculations, the pot is roughly 200,000. So I just go for pot. I get greedy, have a massive bet, and he snap calls it off so fast. I show my 7-high flush, and it's the winner. I mean, I guess I could have gone bigger, because when someone snap calls a big bet like this, they certainly felt like they were going to call anything. But I win this hand. We've got piles again with about 750,000 chips in my stack. Things are going smooth, and we're back again to action with pocket threes on the button. Action folds to me, and I raise it up to 20,000. The small blind is the only caller, as we played against him last hand. Flop comes 7-3 deuce. We are sun running this guy. My opponent checks, and I decided to play this a little trickily and check this back in slow play. The turn comes the king of hearts, so the flush draw gets there, which isn't amazing. Once again, my opponent checks, and I just have to throw something into the middle. So I throw 30,000, hoping that that is enough to entice him for a call, and it does. So he's in here, off to a river, which comes a queen. Another card that doesn't change a single thing. I bet my set is the best hand for sure, and for that reason, I decided to throw a big bet into the middle for 160,000 chips. Once again, this could be another potentially massive pot, as my opponent is in the tank, and he looks like he really wants to stick it in, but he ends up making the decision to fold. No, we wanted more value. But it is nice to win another pot. It is nice to just flop sets and run hot so far in this tournament. And we're going to need a lot more of that, as I've got 800,000 chips going into the break.
We're halfway, or half the field needs to bust now. So 20 people are in the money, 174,000 for first, give or take. I'm having a great time. I didn't think I would have this good of a time after folding the ace-queen hand, but then I guess I hit a flush, and now I have chips. It's pretty sick. The table just got like infinitely tougher though, but makes it really fun. Let's just not torch it up, okay?
After the break, there are 36 players left in this tournament, and I've got pocket jacks in the small blind. Action folds to me, and we've got two big stacks colliding here as the big blind's got a lot of chips in front of them. I decided to sneak in a little limp with jacks, and my opponent decides to check this back. Off to a flop of 7-5-4, 2 hearts. This is a very connected board that seems like a safe one for one pair. I check it to my opponent now, and he fires 20,000 into the middle. Here, with pocket jacks, I think I'm gonna go for value, and I check raise to 55,000, and we've got a big one brewing as my opponent goes all in. I snap call, I spin him to the pot. I just think jacks is the best hand. I'm not folding this one. He's got 565,000 chips. I have 585,000 chips. This is over a million chip pot early in this tournament, and this is a massive one as we're up against 6 deuce of hearts. He's got the open ender with the flush draw. We both have massive hands and colliding on this flip. He's actually a slight mathematical favorite here, but we just gotta fade. We have to fade the entire world. The turn brick, river, brick. Thank you, dealer. Pocket jacks wins a massive pot here. I can't believe all the chips got into the middle. This was just a limped pot as well that has ballooned into something insane. But somehow we fade all of his outs, and pocket jacks holds to be the winner. This was the highlight of this tournament series. I can't believe he won such a large flip. This is a tournament altering hand for sure, as one of us, whoever was going to win this hand, would definitely be primed for a deep run in this tournament.
We are 25 players left. There's a chance someone busts in this hand. We're on break right now. So 24 players potentially left. So yeah, we're 4 off the money, a little bit on the bubble-ish, but considering it's like a small field, we're just close. We're not on the bubble yet. But hopefully we'll get there soon, and I've got 950, average is 750. I'm in a decent spot.
We're progressing onto level 17 of this tournament now. With 22 players left, we are on the stone bubble. My chip stack has gone up and down and has chipped down to about 600,000 at the 40k big blind mark. This bubble's taking forever. What happens next is nuts. With 22 players left and 20 players pay, our chip stack has gone up and down but has dwindled to only 600,000 at the 40k big blind mark. No one has busted here and the bubble's taking forever, but what happens next is insane as action folds to the small blind. He jams and goes all in for 550,000, and I look at my hand, it's ace 10 offsuit. Oh my goodness, this is scary here. I've been playing poker all day long, and now is my turn to either be out of the tournament or we double up and get another massive pot shipped our way, especially this close to the money. I muster up the courage, take one last breath before committing my entire stack in there, and now we wait till all the hands are finished as we're playing hand for hand. My opponent has Queen 9 of spades. Oh my goodness, this is a flip and I'm barely ahead, and the flop comes Queen, Queen, Jack. No, he flops trips. My tournament life is at risk until turn king. No way, we hit that out for a straight, and the river hold. Don't pair the board, it's safe. In this insane, dramatic, all-in pot nearing the stone bubble, I win and get extremely lucky. The tournament gods are shining down on me. What a magical turn card to see. I was already heartbroken at the flop, but the turn is an amazing swing of emotions. My opponent busts, and now there's 21 players left, officially on the stone bubble, and I've just got my chip stack back over 1 million. Let's grind it out.
I can breathe now. Holy I was down to I lost like half my stack or something. You know, the blinds are big, called a raise, lost. Oh, that was fun. This is why you play tournaments. The heart gets pumping, all the adrenaline's here, and you either go with max pain or max happiness.
Following that hand, we pick up King 10 of hearts on the button. There's a low jack raised to 80,000. The hijack makes the call, and let's exercise some bubble pressure. Also, I've got a pretty good hand to play as well. I 3-bet to 260,000. And one by one, everyone at the table folds, so it's a pretty nice pickup here considering the blinds are so big. Then, on the stone double again with ace queen of spades, we're in the small blind, and action folds to me. I'm chip leader at this table, and the big blind has 700,000. With a good hand like mine, I decided to raise to 110,000. Now, the big blind decides to min 3-bet me to 220,000 in position, and with ace queen of spades, on the stone bubble. If he's got it, he's got it, but I like my chances. I put him all in, and he snap calls with pocket kings. Oh my, that is a really good hand. On the stone bubble, everyone's rooting for me to win as we are able to be in the money. There are bricks on the flop, the brick on the turn, and the ace from space on the river. That feels so good, while also so bad busting out Danny Sepiel in this fashion to stone bubble. I can only feel for Danny here, because bubbling in this insane fashion like this with 3 outs to fade on the river feels horrific. I'm luck boxing this tournament, and we're officially in the money with piles and piles and more piles of chips. With 19 players left now, we're in the money, and let's cruise to win this thing. Next, with 15 players left, I'm in the small blind with 5-6 offsuit. Blinds have increased to the 50,000 mark, and the big blind has about 15 big blinds in his stack. Action folds to me. I decided to limp this in. I feel like I could actually fold this one, but let's get spicy. My opponent checks his option, and we're off to a flop of Jack 3 deuce 2 diamonds. Here, with a gut shot straight draw, I decided to fire out on 100,000 into the middle, and it's not great news as it's followed up by a call. So I really didn't want to see that, but we're off to a turn which comes another jack. So now sitting with 6 high, I just feel like I really want to fight hard for this pot. I decided to throw 225,000 into the middle. We're setting up for a pretty small yet scary all-in on the river, and when my opponent calls once more, can we get lucky on the river? We need to hit the 4 so we don't bluff it off. It's the 8 of clubs. That is not what we wanted to see. And now, sitting with 6 high, did I come this far just to give up? For those who have watched my channel long enough, you know I don't have any give up in me. I'm not waving that white flag, and if he's got it, he's got it. I put him all in for 360,000 chips, and now my opponent is in the tank. My heart is beating out of my chest. There is no crazier and better feeling than bluffing it off all in with only 15 players left in a big tournament like this. Can my opponent find the fold? Can he fold a 3? Can he fold a deuce? And after one time bank, he lets it go and folds. Yes! I'm internally screaming now, and there's no better time to go on break to decompress.
Austin, what do you think I have?
You would have had to have like 5-6 gut shot. Yep. There you go. But I'm a poker player. Holy
All right, we're 15 players left. Got the bluff through, which is sick. Austin got it right, which is amazing. And it's, what time is it right now? It's midnight. It's currently midnight, and we're playing till the final table of 7, I believe. So hopefully, I'm in a fine position. Hopefully, we can make it again, which is really sick. Let's win $174,000. I'm gonna give away 1% to someone who signed up with Rampage on Club WPT Gold.
After break, the blinds have increased to the 60K big blind mark, and with still 15 players left. Action folds to me in the small blind with King 10 offsuit. My opponent's got 880,000, so it's roughly 14.5 big blinds in his stack. I decided to go all in with a hand like this, and he snap calls with Ace Queen offsuit. We aren't the best at getting it in ahead, but we've still got life, and the flop is King 10 high. Oh my goodness, the sun run is so here and so back. We end up fading the jack, and Ace Queen is GG'd. We knock out an opponent here. We add more chips into our chip stack. With over 3.2 million chips now, we also get the pay jump and have locked up $14,000, but our eyes are on the one prize we really want. It's the win, and it's the $170,000 for first place. This next clip after that, you see Chrissy Foxen busting in 13th place, followed by Jesse in 12th. And with these heroes gone, I'm liking my chances more and more to win the tournament. And we've got 5 deuce of hearts in the small blind. Action folds to me, and the big blind has only 3 big blinds in his stack, so I guess with 5 deuce suited, I'm all in. And he ends up making the call with 8-7 offsuit. Somehow, some way, you know it's your tournament and your day. 5 deuce high, really sunning it. I knock out another opponent, so now we're officially 11 left. We're getting close to bagging and making the final table now. With all the momentum going my way, I'm playing tons of hands, and I've got Ace-8 offsuit in the cutoff. I raise it up to 120,000, and the big blind makes the call off of 24 big blinds. Off to the flop of King Jack Deuce 2 clubs. So we've got a pretty key card in my hand with the ace of clubs. My opponent starts off with a check, and I throw 110,000 into the middle, and that's followed by a call. The turn comes the 6 of hearts, which is a complete brick. And once more, I want to put as much pressure on my opponent as possible, and I bet 330,000 into the middle. This looks like, once again, that I'm sizing up to be all in on the river, and if a club does come, I'm definitely bluffing it off. My opponent makes the call once more, so we're off to a river, which comes a deuce. Not the club I wanted to see, so I can represent that flush draw. And now on the board pair, sitting with ace high actually, could be the best hand sometimes, but unlikely. Action goes check, check, and I lose to ace jack. So we make a little bit of regression in our chip stack, but another hero busts out of the field. Nick Schulman is out in 10th place, so there's 9 players left in this tournament. We're at the 80k big blind mark with Jack 10 offsuit. I raise it up to 160,000. We get called by the big blind. The flop is pretty great on Queen 10-9, and we have middle pair with the open-ender. And when my opponent checks to me, I actually decided to check this one back. I don't need a bet every single time with this hand, so I elected to check, and we're off to a turn, which is a brick. Doesn't change the board, and we're sitting with all the equity here. My opponent fires 200,000 into the middle, and I will happily oblige with a call. The river now is a king. We get there with the straight. If you thought I wasn't going to get there, you're wrong, because today is my day, and even better, my opponent bets out again, this time of 250,000. We're definitely going to be raising. It's just a matter of how much we want to get out of this hand. I elected on choosing 900,000 into the middle. Every pot at this point feels like life or death, and my opponent goes into the tank, uses a time bank, but ultimately ends up making the right decision on a fold for him. The wrong decision, obviously, for me, as if you're rooting for me to win this tournament, but I still win the pot. It's always nice to get there on the river. And shortly after, there are 8 players left as David Coleman ends up busting. Then, right after that, Brett Bassick busts with ace-5 running into ace-7.
We made it to the final table. I think everyone has like very similar amount of chips. I have, average stack is 2.6 million. Everyone here has about that. So very curious what the stack distribution looks like, but it seems very, very tight up top. I have 3.2 million, give or take, and average is 2.6. So 7 players left. We've locked up 29,000. First place is 174,000.
So that will conclude our day. With 7 players left in the tournament, we've got plenty of life making another final table at this series. We're coming back for day 2.
1:06 in the morning. We come back at 12:30, so we've got a little bit of time to rest, recharge, come back, try to win a tournament. Very excited. Let's get some sleep. The final table is getting started up. This is one of the trophies that we're trying to win. 7 players left. We're about to get started very, very soon, so I'm sitting second in chips. And we've got a chance. It's nice to keep making final tables and getting a chance to win. Hopefully we can convert on one of these opportunities. 174,000 for first. I'm giving away 1% to anyone that uses Rampage on gold. And I hope to give away 1,700 chips.
In the beginning of day 2, we've got fireworks immediately as there's an all-in ace-king versus ace-queen. How can ace-queen find a way to win this hand as we can get an elimination? It does not. Ace-king doubles up. We're still moving on 7-handed in this tournament. Now to the 100k big blind mark. That's almost one whole starting stack. I've got 2.8 million chips, and I've got ace-king of clubs on the button. The cutoff raises to 200,000. And this is a prime spot to 3-bet as I have a really good hand. I make it 550,000. Action folds back to the cutoff, who puts me all in. I snap call, of course, with a hand like this. For our tournament life, we're up against ace-king itself. All right, I guess we're going to chop a lot, unless there's clubs, and there are not. Okay, we chop it up, but we were involved in a big all-in here, which could have been insane if we were to win. But the next deal, we get involved again with King-Jack of clubs in the cutoff. The under-the-gun opponent raises to 225,000. Here, I'm in the cutoff next to act, and I decide to get spicy and 3-bet again to 550,000. I think this exact hand could serve as a call, but I wanted to be more aggressive here at this final table and take control. What happens when you try to take control with bad hands is that my opponent goes all in and rejams, so everyone wants to go all in versus me, which is really annoying, and King Jack is going to have to hit the muck, and I let it go. But then we pick up aces. It's our time to shine. We're under the gun, and I raise it up to 225,000, still 7-handed. and now we've got action. The cutoff and big blind both call, so we're going to a flop of ace king 7, but all spades. This is as dicey as it possibly gets with top set, so I throw 225,000 into the middle, and sadly, one by one, they both fold, but I'll happily take the pot down with a very disguised top set of aces, which always feels good. Then we've got more fireworks. It's another all-in. Pocket queens versus ace 9. We're rooting for pocket queens here. Can it find a way to win? And it does. We get our first knockout of this final table, and there's officially 6 players left, and we've locked up $36,000 in our pocket. Moving on to the next level, we've got pocket 6s in the hijack, and I raise it up to $275,000. The opponent to my left goes all in for $950,000. This is a little silly because I have to call this. I really didn't like raising to begin with, but now when he jams such a small stack, I'm in here and he's got pocket 10s. Can we get lucky hitting a 20% and knocking out this opponent? And we do not get lucky. My opponent doubles up. This is a massive blow to my stack. I almost lose about 40% of my stack here in this situation. So now we're crippled with about 10 big blinds. And with king 10 of clubs, we're under the gun, 6-handed, and I've got 10 big blinds. I decide to put half of my stack in there with a raise to 500,000 or 600,000. Action folds to our buddy Andrew Moreno, and he decides to isolate me, raising it up, and I have to put it all in since I'm already in there. We're up against pocket kings. Oh no, we're dead. King 10 versus kings does not look very good in the all-in equity chart, and that is until the suck-out jack to give me a straight. How is that possible? We only had 3 outs. We had to fade a heart. The offsuit jack here comes. There's no freaking way. I was literally 2 feet out the door, and I find a miraculous suck-out here against kings to stay alive. And to make matters even better, we're in the big blind next to act with the button going all in for $775,000. I've got ace 3 offsuit. It's a clear call against a short stack like that. My opponent's got 9-7 off, and just like that, back-to-back hands, I get saved on the river. I win this all in versus 9-7. We get the knockout, and there's 5 players left. We've locked up $43,500 now. This is an amazing spin up of 2 hands back-to-back. We went from being out of the door to having 3.5 million chips in front of me.
What a scam. I mean, what is going on? What a fair game we play, I think. I mean, at the premature GG, I was 3 feet out the door. I was completely out of the tournament for sure. They sucked it back to life. Let's go. 5 players left. That was unfortunate for Andrew, a good friend of mine, but I will happily take the bad beats on my end, and we're rolling. Happy to still be here. We locked up 43,000 now, so we're 5 players left, and I have a decent chance, hopefully. I'm running so hot in the all-ins, it's kind of insane. So let's go. Come on.
As the blind levels increase, we see another collision. It's Andrew's ace-king versus ace-queen, and the better, superior hand finds another double up and hold. We were kind of rooting for ace-queen to win, so we can get a knockout and pay jump, but nice hand to Andrew as he doubles. At least there's justice in him winning this hand after me getting super lucky with the king 10 against him. Then in the next hand, the hijack raises to 300,000 off of just 7 big blinds. Action folds to me. I just don't believe how he can have a good hand here, especially when I peel an ace 6 offsuit in the big blind. He's literally supposed to only min raise aces and kings here, so having an ace in my hand feels pretty comfortable, so I put them all in, and he snap calls with aces, of course. I mean, this actually feels quite unlucky in my shoes as I have to keep doubling up this opponent, but the shortest stack finds another double up with aces. Everyone's chip stacks around the table gets closer and closer, which increases the ICM pressure on everyone else. So I feel like I'm a little bit handcuffed, but the next level comes at the 200K big blind mark. We've got ace 8 offsuit versus king queen of diamonds. We need ace 8 to hold and win, and it does. We get another knockout. There's 4 players left at this final table, and I'm somehow still one of them. Now, action folds to me. I'm super short stacked with 1.6 million, but look at a premium ace jack suited off of this stack depth. The cutoff raises to 400,000. I go all in, of course, and he's got ace 9 offsuit. Come on, we're ahead here. For my tournament life, can I continue getting lucky and winning with the best hand? When all hope was gone when he hit the 9, we hit the jack for the re-suck out and double up. Oh my goodness, this is a crazy swing of emotions here at this final table. Everyone's short stacked, everyone's all in left and right, and I'm just glad to still be alive and enjoy the show. Then we pick up another premium in ace-queen offsuit in the cutoff. I raise it up to 400,000. The big blind defends, and we're going to a flop. Playing post-flop's a little weird at this final table. We haven't done so much, but the flop comes queen 10-4 to spades. Action checks to me here, and with such a beautiful hand to see, I bet 375,000. Really trying to get action. I would love to see him make the call, and he does come along for a call, so that's beautiful. And if I thought things weren't so comfortable on the flop, the turn is another queen. We have trips with top kicker. My opponent checks once more, and I'm going to be sizing to be all in here, of course, as I have a premium hand like this. I bet 950,000, which is followed up by a fold. But hey, I'm always happy to pick up chips like this. It's a very nice win. And with 18 million chips in play, I've got about 5 million chips in front of me, but the blind level is at 250,000. I've only got 20 big blinds, so it shows you just how shallow everyone is. But then we've got ace-queen versus queen 10 all in pre-flop. Jeremy Becker with the queen 10 ends up not improving and busting out. There's 3 players left now. I'm somehow in one of those. I'm still somehow alive, and we've locked up $76,000, which as of right now is my biggest tournament live score in 2026. Then we see Ace-Jack versus Queen 10. We're rooting for Ace-Jack, the better hand, but Queen 10 finds a double up. We're still 3-handed, but what's unfortunate is I go on a stretch of card death. When we're playing 3-handed, I end up blinding down to crumbs as I fold and fold and fold.
Quick little 5-minute break. 3-handed, I have been card dead, and I've blinded down to 2.4 million, which is fine. I end coming back to the 300K big blind mark, so I have 8 bigs. I've been folding a lot, but everyone's really shallow. You gotta win your all-ins. I've been doing that so far, which is why I'm still here. So let's just, what do I need to do? I need to win at least like 3 more all-ins. So let's just hope to win 3 more all-ins, and then we'll be in the clear.
And with 8 big blinds on the button, the first hand I pick up after break is 9-7 of diamonds. I'm not really sure what to do in this spot. The issue with playing 3-handed is that the blinds come really quickly. So if I fold here, I'm just going to be down to 6 big blinds in the next hand. So with some decent equity, I decided to go all in and risk my tournament life here on this hand. What's insane is that the small blind, Andrew, decides to make the call for the 8 big blinds, so we've got action, but then the big blind re-jams his stack. We get some protection here, and that makes the small blind fold, and we've got a beautiful chance to triple up from 8 big blinds to 25. We're up against ace-4 of clubs, so we're moderately behind, but we flop the diamond draw. And we bink the flush as well. We're still alive in this thing, getting extremely lucky with some janky hands, but we find a triple up at the final table 3-handed. You can't say that very often. Our dreams are alive and true here, and we're getting back to work with queen 10 offsuit in the big blind. Small blind decides to limp, and I don't really see an option to raise this one, so I check this back. We're off to a flop of ace queen 7. My opponent starts with a bet of 300,000, and as played, I just can't believe he would ever have an ace playing this way. I call with my pair of queens. The turn comes the 5 of hearts, so there's 2 flush draws out there now, and once again my opponent fires again for 550,000. At this point, I actually wanted to try and raise him, because I think I just have the best hand a lot of the time. He can be trying to bully me as the chip leader at the table, but for 550, I do call and I try to stay in line. The river now is the 6 of diamonds, which is a brutal card to see. Front door flush gets there, but what's surprising is that my opponent decides to check. I don't think I can get more value out of my hand anymore, so I check this one back, and we run into ace 10. Wow. I think my stack just got saved, because if he were to bet on the river, he would have put me all in, and there would have been a decent chance I might have been curious to call, but I'm glad that that front door flush got there to stop the betting. Then with king 9 offsuit, we're on the button 3-handed. I raise it up to 600,000. The big blind decides to come along for a call, and we're going to a flop of jack 8-3 rainbow. He checks it over to me here, and I start off with a small bet of 350,000 on a dry board, and my opponent does come along for a call. The turn now is the queen of spades, bringing in a backdoor flush draw, and I think this is a perfect card once more to fire again. We picked up some equity with the straight draw, along with another card that should hit me more than him. So when he checks, I fire 800,000 into the middle, but then he puts me all in. Oh man, this is annoying as heck. I obviously make the fold with king high, and once again, our stack is back to being crippled. We're losing all these pots. So let's get lucky with an all-in, because blinds are up again at the 400k big blind mark, and with only 1.2 million chips, I'm all in the small blind with king 3 offsuit. The big blind calls with 9-7 of hearts. That's the hand that saved me. Can we master and beat it? And somehow I still win to stay alive with king 3 offsuit. Oh, they can't kill me. I'm cockroaching my way through this tournament. And what's even more insane is that now, with how few ships I have, there's a massive collision from the other two opponents. It's king 7 versus ace 4 of spades. We're rooting for ace 4 as he covers king 7, and he ends up holding just like that in an unlikely scenario where I thought everyone was waiting for me to bust out first. We get another pay jump and ladder up, locking up $105,000, our first six-figure score in 2026 in a tournament, and I just feel incredibly grateful and lucky to be in here. I've done absolutely nothing besides do my best to stay alive and get lucky in all-ins, but I've still got a small stack. We're heads up. I'm definitely an underdog to win this as I have very few chips at play, but we're going to try our best and battle because I've got queen 8 offsuit with 3.6 million chips. My opponent goes all in on the button. 3.6 million chips seems like a lot, but it's only 9 big blinds and we're heads up with the big blind ante. I think this hand is just good enough, so I make the call. We're up against ace jack. We end up hitting and holding. And now, part 1 of this comeback train to win this heads-up match is complete. I just have to double up 3 times, win 3 all-ins, so we're 1/3 of the way there, and we could smell some real opportunity. Then we got another all-in battle. My opponent jams 14.5 big blinds effective, that's what I have in my stack, and I end up peeling king 9 offsuit. Here, this feels really right on the fringe. If I had king 10, I'm snap calling. If I have king 8, it's also pretty close, but for 14.5 big blinds, I hem and haw about the situation as it's for my tournament life, but at the end of the day, I think it's just too good of a king, so I stick it in for a call, and it's great news! We're up against king 7 offsuit. If we were to win this hand, we will take the chip lead from my opponent. Here we go for the marbles. Can we hold? Everything looks so clean. Then the 7 on the river. No, not the 7. Congrats to Taylor for winning the tournament. He played extremely well, and it certainly hurts to lose a tournament in this fashion on the river. But hey, I'm still eternally grateful and lucky to still have been alive to survive at this point. You gotta run really hot to win tournaments.
It was not meant to be. I don't have many second places. I really thought that once I get heads up, like if I win an all in, I have a chance, and I have a really good chance. 7 on the river is painful. Oh well, I cashed for $105,000, which means I'm going to give away 1,050 chips as a 1% giveaway. So shout out to you, the winner here. He's signing up for code Rampage, and make sure to do that link in the description below. Overall, very huge success of a tournament week so far. We were in for 7 bullets of $5,000. So roughly, let's just round down. My buy-ins were in for $35,000. First event, I cashed for $40,500. Fourth event now, I just cashed for $105,000. So good old week's day worth of poker.